Hello everyone, Susan Gerbeck from Psychics Explained. Look, I got lights from my solar lights in today. So I've been playing around with them and I just realized they're working. So I brought them into my office because I don't want to go out and put them out right now. Anyway, I just love bright, shiny things like that. Just like Matt Fraser. He loves all that shiny stuff, with the wings and angel stuff and everything. It's just so cute. He's so cute. Anyway, this is video 7 of 11 from the first event we attended a couple weeks ago. And this is a series that I'm doing, and they are standalone videos. You can watch them one at a time if you want. But it is, I think, for those of us who are very interested in this world of psychic mediumship and are really interested in how it all comes together and how these people can spend 90 minutes giving readings and they say the same things over and over and the same tropes over and over. And I think it's just more interesting to look at it from that perspective. So I am doing them in order, and there are a total of 11. So I'm going to show you one. It is 8 minutes long. This is three sisters. I believe they're three sisters. I scribbled notes. They're just the first time I saw it. So I kind of watching this again for this first time because I don't know if I can read my notes. So if you guys see something that I don't, or you think I'm making a big deal out of something that isn't something you think should be made a big deal of, please leave me a comment. I really do appreciate listening to that. If feels better watching these with you guys because I really don't feel alone, even though I know I'm not alone because I wasn't attending these by myself. And but it does feel better knowing that you guys are watching these with me, and you are. I'm getting comments, and I am seeing people who are watching and giving comments about what they've seen. I really appreciate that. I do have somebody who just is so interesting. Someone who wrote, let's see if I can find the comment. Okay, this person, his name is Mark Braxton dash HHE, wait, HH2EG, whoever that is. And they were quite not too happy about what I was saying. And I don't think they watched any of the videos. And let me tell you why I think they didn't watch any of the videos. He says, I assume it's a he, his name is Mark. So you say Matt should say the name. Names don't always come through. And the reason has been explained. If you were up with your research on this subject, you would know, but it's blatantly obvious you're not, exclamation point. And what about all the names we've seen Matt bring through correctly more often than not, among other validated information? Just clever guesswork on his part, question mark, or coincidence maybe? Lady, you are way off track, but we love watching you as a comedy show. Keep up the good work. It's got little emojis. Woo. And I other people responded, and I did respond, and I said, well, where are these videos where he got the names correct? And then I did put a link to one of the videos that Matt got a lot of things correct because it was a reporter. He had like a 3 minutes with her, and he was reading everything that was on her Instagram page. And I put screenshots up and everything. So that link is in there. So he'll hot read if he's given a chance. I think I've caught him doing some other hot reads, but I didn't feel like going into great depth looking for those links for this person who probably isn't going to even look at them. So then Mark responds again. You obviously haven't bothered checking out more than just a few of his videos. His examples are everywhere, either at his home, doing private readings, or out on the road. He's not doing private readings anymore. So, okay. If you actually subscribe to him where all his videos are, you might learn something. Okay. If you're going to put a case against this mediumship business, at least do some reasonable research. You're making yourself look ridiculous. If he showed any reasonable counter information on this, it would be really interesting, but you offer nothing. It's actually embarrassing to watch, sad to say. I'm not, I have I have like 30 videos all on Matt Fraser, including a New York Times article, including probably 3 dozen articles for Skeptical Inquirer. Okay, I haven't spent it, and I've gone to multiple of his live events, gazillions videos I've watched and attended his. Oh, seriously, dude. Then he writes, he still hasn't responded with any kind of evidence of this he's saying. I guess it's all coincidence. The fact that he brings up names, events that are right on target consistently under controlled conditions. What is this supposed to mean? Having, oh, I want to say that a gun pointed at his head and shot if he makes a mistake. Strange statement. Matt has had his head wired up and brain function measured. Oh boy. I recorded while giving him a reading, and doctors have clearly seen an unusual change in pattern in brain activity while it's happening. There are thousands of happy and convinced people of his abilities because of his accuracy and details given to him. Maybe you should go around and see them all and tell them that listening to you is the correct option, not what's been proven by them by Fraser, spelled wrong, because only you're correct and definitely know best. And then some laughing emojis. So about the head stuff, I mean, Tyler Henry's done this. I think Teresa Caputo's done it. It's Fleur, a friend of our channel, Fleur's Paranormal Files. You got to check out one of her videos, and I linked to it over in this conversation. She does a really good job explaining what's going on with that world. It's not something I ever was really interested in. It's kind of pseudoscience kind of stuff, but she does a good job of explaining it. I don't need to go into it. Watch her stuff. And then if thousands of people believe something, that must make it true. And then I think the last one is, I go by what I and thousands of others see as facts that convince them of with no doubts of all, because you're on some kind of vengeance trail for him and other mediums is your business. I couldn't care less. You have shown no ability to prove anything to me at all, and your take on how he pulls names out only when he knows who he's reading for beforehand is hilarious. What about the live shows where he often does it? How do you explain that? Has he paid stooges everywhere to help him out? You go about your business as usual, and good luck to you. Witch hunts must be fun when there's nothing else to do. I get that a lot. They say, don't you have anything better to do? Oh, so sorry. I didn't know somebody else is in charge of my free time. Helping people who are being preyed upon by these kinds of grief vampires. I think it's a good use of my time, and I find it interesting. And I actually have a talent in understanding and seeing what's going on because I've been doing it for so many years. And I had such a close association with the mentalist community, Mark Edward, and the skeptic community. And so I think it's interesting. You become kind of good at it after a while. So that's what I do with my spare time. Thank you for commenting, by the way, Mark Braxton dash HH2EG, because every time you comment on one of my videos, it just makes YouTube get a little happier and send out the video to more and more people to find it. So thank you so much for commenting, especially so many comments. They like that engagement. So yeah, so for anybody watching this, if you guys want to please subscribe, watch the videos, and leave comments, that always helps the algorithm and allows me to be able to get more people watching the videos. When you are a YouTube channel, you get a zillion statistics, and the statistic that says that the most people who are finding my videos are by video search. They're searching for a term and they're finding my videos. More than, I think, 60% of people. Very small percentage of people of my views are coming from subscribers. And I don't know why, but I would think that I subscribe to several channels and I try to watch the videos often, but I guess it's small compared to what you get from people looking for something. And also the next most popular reason people find my videos are because the YouTube suggested the video to them. Maybe because they'd watched something else that had to do with a certain psychic or something. I don't know. But I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on it. Anyway, Sorry for that segue, but I find it interesting and, just getting that out there. So we're going to go watch these three sisters. But what I remember, well, it's cold reading, duh. And if I remember correctly, and I'm looking at my notes, I don't remember. So I guess we'll find out together. So let's check this out. I'll jump in from time to time. This is the 7th video in the series. So as I said, you can watch them out of order if you want, but this is the 7th one. Okay, Matt, what you got for us?
It's Kristen Vargas is here. There's a few souls that are on that side of the screen that we gotta get over to.
Hi, Matt.
Kristen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm here with my
Where are
sisters.
you guys?
We're in New Jersey.
Oh, were you guys here before?
No. I watched
Oh my
all
God,
the time
I feel like I know you already because I'm hearing from these souls on the other side. First of all, when I'm connecting, did your dad pass here in the physical?
Yes.
He's the first one stepping forward. I also have your grandmother in spirit as well because she's like right there on the other side saying like, I'm there. So, oh my God, and there's also a dog that's here that just appeared that also had passed away. Did you also just lose a dog?
Yeah, we lost a couple dogs in our family.
So that those souls are there because your dad is when your dad was coming through, I said, these dogs running to me. Well, one in particular is running to me in spirit. I need you to know that, first of all, your dad is here. And the moment I'm connecting with this man, he shows me that there were problems in multiple parts of his body here in the physical world. But I also kept feeling, when I'm connecting with him, that there was heart issues when I'm connecting with him. So he shows me that. I felt like this was what was going to kill me. He tells me that this was something that, unfortunately, was ongoing for him. So when I'm speaking to your dad, do you know if he had like heart attacks that he didn't tell you about or heart issues that were underlying?
We don't know. That was the way he ended up passing.
I'm going to tell you this was not out of the blue. I have to tell you that when I'm connecting with your dad, immediately he shows me that he was having episodes. And he kept saying to me, I was afraid of this. I knew I was going to die this way. I knew I was going to die this way. And he kept telling me that it ran in his family. There were other people, other family members, who died in this exact same way. Because he said to me, Matt, he says, I lived longer than them. He says, but he talks about being afraid to get it checked out and being afraid to be seen about this. But what's really hard is your dad just showed me, and I don't know if you got the autopsy report or if you saw how he had died, but he keeps talking about two blockages. So when I see that, that means to me that there was multiple parts of his heart that was affected. And your dad just said to me, I want to tell my daughter that I'm sorry for how quickly I left this world. But he also wants to let you know that when he was here and when he was alive, your dad said, I left it up to God. I left it up to God. Meaning that even though there were warning signs that was here, your dad said to me, I prayed, I asked for God for more time, and your dad tells me he got to see everything that he wanted to before he had died. He actually just stepped forward, and I need to tell you something from him. He says to me, Matt, tell my daughter that there was no way I was going in for any operations. There was no way I was going to let anybody put me under the knife. He says, so even if you went in and they said, this is what's wrong, this is what's going on, your dad said I wouldn't have done it. Mm-hmm. So first I need you to know that. I'm also hearing Frank. Is there also Frank?
Okay, I really hate it when they do this health stuff because, yes, I get it. Heart disease is the number one killer of American males, Western men. So anything that has to do with heart disease is going to be pretty obviously, it's going to be something that's going to be the end of these people. And I think number 2 is cancer. And for a few years, I think COVID was right up there in the top 5. Okay, I get that. But what Matt is saying here, well, we don't know how accurate that is. The guy could have died from cancer. He could have died from many other things. We don't know because we can't, he's not allowing the daughters to say what it was that the father died of, if they even know. But Matt is really railing on this heart disease thing. He's saying there's lots of other people in the family that have had this, and I had blockage, and I'm not going to get it taken care of at all, and on and on and on. Well, we don't know if maybe there is something else that killed their father, such as something that is hereditary in a more serious way, some kind of genetic, oh gosh, he's an EMT. Matt was an EMT. I'm not a medical person, but there are illnesses and diseases and other things that may be prevalent in a family that these daughters may know about, or maybe they don't know about, and they should be aware of it. So if they knew the true reason why their father had died, that might have been more helpful to them than this, whatever it is, guess that Matt's giving. And if they knew the true reason their father died, or they know of this trend in their family, a lot of people have died of this thing in our family, or have been really unwell from this thing, maybe they should have, they might say, oh, we really should take this more seriously. But oh no, I guess we don't have to, because Matt Fraser told us that that's not what killed Dad. So maybe it's not something we should take as serious. Do you get what I'm saying? If you're going to a psychic medium who's supposed to be all powerful here, telling you all this stuff directly from your father, who is dead and who is telling them the truth, then I think that you should probably put a little more weight into that if you believe it. So anytime they deal with medical stuff, it really bugs me, because it's not always what they say, it's what's left unsaid, if you get my drift on this. The other thing he says, tell my daughter. There are 3 daughters there. So he says, tell my daughter. I wonder how the other 2 feel. But no, there's 3 daughters there. For some reason, tell my daughter is the one. Now he's going to go into these tropes. I remember this now. So some of the most common names in the world of mediumship are, you guys know them, Robert, Margaret, Elizabeth, John, Anthony. These are all common names. So he's starting on Frank. Another one that really bugs me is Rose. And I know Rose is coming up. There's many psychics that use the word Rose often. And I think they use it because Rose could mean so many things. It could be a middle name. Same could Frank. It could also be a last name too, right? Same could Rose. And they are names that are very common. But in the case of like Rose, it could be a tattoo of a flower, or a tattoo of a rose, or you saw a rose, or you saw a rose bush, or she liked roses, or she grew roses. And there's just so many things that it could be. So now it's a Frank. I'm going to back this up a second so we don't skip how he asks about Frank. He doesn't say who Frank is. No, because Matt doesn't know who Frank is. It's a name he's throwing out there. He's not psychic, you guys. So if you would think, since Frank is sending him a message and talking to him right now as he's chattering away, he somehow or other, I guess, suspends time, and we just can't see that time suspend as he's hearing this Frank. He's saying, my name is Frank. My name is Frank. Well, Matt supposedly is having a conversation with them. He's always talking about, I'm telling them, at the same time he's speaking. So if Matt's telling Frank, why does he say, well, who are you? How are you related to these 3 sisters? What's your last name, Frank? Something. Can you give me something besides just throwing out a name? And it's funny because the show I was at in October with Matt Fraser, he's like, I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't throw out names and initials and stuff like that. And then he goes into the show and he does exactly that. It's part of his opening line at the beginning when he's talking to the crowd. Oh, I don't do that kind of stuff. Other psychics do. I see him do it all the time. Here, let's watch.
So first, I need you to know that. I'm also hearing Frank. Is there also Frank as well?
Oh, maybe a friend of the family.
That soul's there. I'm also hearing Joe as well. I keep hearing say Joe.
Joe.
So Joseph, that name is also here.
Adeline's husband.
Could be.
His sister's husband was Joe that passed.
That passed. And wait, this is what I'm sorry. There's a lot of different people. He's like, tell me this one's here and this one's here. I'm also hearing Rose as well when I'm connecting.
His cousin. He just passed. Yeah, his cousin.
Please note that soul would also be there because your dad is like, so there's a lot of other names, but your dad is just so excited to see all of these people. He's talking about like these have to be like recent passes. He's talking about like people that are on the other side with him that he's seeing interacting with in spirit. But I need you to know this, that even though you lost your dad.
All right, I forgot about Joseph. Oh gosh, that's an uncommon name out there. You guys just let me know how many Josephs, Franks, and Roses that could possibly connect to you. So this is why they do readings with 2 or 3 people in the room. So he's got 3 women right there. They are related. Apparently, they're all sisters, but it could apply to somebody's other family or coworkers or something like that. And I think that's what they said. It's somebody's husband's something or whatever. So your law of large numbers, the ability to be able to have multiple hits is accelerated at least by 3 if you've got multiple people that you're reading for. As I mean, it's obvious, right? So between these women, and they're looking at each other like, I don't know, could that be Aunt Rose? Could that be Cousin Rose? She died not too long ago. Yeah, I guess it could be Cousin Rose. Why don't you say, Matt, who is this person? And he's not saying living or dead until they say, oh, it could be Rose. She passed away. Oh, yeah. They're all over there with your dad, and he's super excited about it. Really? Okay, sure. We haven't mentioned the dad's name, by the way. Did you hear the dad's name? No, there's no dad's name because Matt does not know the dad's name because Matt Fraser is not psychic. This is just hard to watch. It really is. And when these 3 women leave this reading and they call their friends or talk to their coworkers or tell the rest of the family, they're going to say, oh my gosh, I got this reading from Matt Fraser, and he not only had my dad down to a dime, and he told us things there's no way that anybody else could have known. Absolutely not. He couldn't have looked it up. My dad came through. It was obvious it was my dad. And Aunt Rose came through, or Cousin Rose came through. And would you believe Frank, his co-worker's friend, came through? And Joseph. We haven't talked to him in 20 years. And he died probably 2 years ago. We haven't talked to him forever, and he's there hanging out with my dad, and they couldn't stand each other, or they didn't even know each other. I mean, so that's how it will sound when this story is repeated to other people. And then it gets picked up by other people, and the story keeps going, and it gets like that telephone game, and it gets more embellished each time, because humans are storytelling creatures, and we tell stories. And and people who are in the media and social media and influencers and celebrities and so on do the same darn thing. And when they do, the people who are listening go, oh, wow, this happened to so-and-so? Wow. Oh, man, I can't afford to go to that psychic that this influence went to. I can't get a reading, or I can't afford it, but I'll find me a psychic who does. And that's what happens. It just gets perpetuated like a giant game of telephone. Okay, let's see if we can finish this off. Well, no, we've got 4 more minutes, I think.
So quickly here in this world, your dad tells me this. He says, Matt, he goes, I want to let my daughter know that I was the type of person that didn't always show my emotions. I didn't always show how I was feeling. He says, I didn't always show my emotions, but I did it through other ways. And your dad wants to let you know about how much he truly did love you here in this world. So, as hard as it was for you to say goodbye and not getting that goodbye, your father says, please let my daughter know that I am so proud of her. And he says, I'm so proud of her, and I'm there with every milestone that she accomplished in life. When I'm connecting with him, I saw his soul standing right beside you. And he says, Matt, just let her know I will always be there. I will always be there. He's bringing that through when I'm connecting with him. Now, this is really interesting. One of the ways that your dad actually communicates on the other side is through cars. Do you see cars that remind you of him?
Yeah, he used to be a tow truck driver, so his business was car.
That would be the reason why. And you know what's weird? Your dad's also showing me a wall of license plates when I'm connecting. So did he used to keep license plates?
Yeah. He did.
Because he's showed me, like, I don't know, it's almost like he made a wall of them. It looks like a garage wall. It's like all these license plates that are there. And your dad just said to me that what I want you to know is that this is the way that I'm using to reach out, because he loves cars here in this world. And in spirit, he shows me about like using those cars to reach you. So if you see a license plate that either has your dad's initials or looks like his license plate, or a car that he loved, it's his way of coming through and sending you that sign from the afterlife and letting you know that he is right there. But he keeps saying to me, I don't want her to be upset about the way that I died. I don't want her to be upset about the way that I died. Because I'm going to tell you something. Your dad was a tough guy here in this cult. He shows me that he worked and he worked and he worked and he worked. And when I'm speaking to your father, he goes, Matt, he goes, yeah, I didn't feel great. He goes, but I'm going to tell my daughter one thing. Your dad, now that he's on the other side, he realized that this was ongoing for him, that he always had a weak heart. That's what he's calling it. So I feel like he had these blockages from long ago. But your dad says to me that because he worked so hard, he goes, I didn't have time to feel pain. He says, he shows me like his hands greasy. He shows me him like literally him being older, but he could do more than a teenager could. And your dad just said to me, Nat, you could tell my daughter, he goes, I worked. I put my body through so much. He says, but I want her to know that I loved what I did. I loved my life. And your dad just said to me that was one of the reasons why it was so hard for you to accept his passing, is that your dad, you know, on the outside, he looked like the picture of health. He looked like a bull when I'm connecting with him. But yet, this was hidden deep within him. So I want you to know that. And your dad just said to me, you will always be my little girl. He actually showed me like these pictures. Did you just find like these pictures of you and your dad on the beach?
Well, I'm going to have to take another look at this because he keeps referring to her as the daughter when there's two others there. I wrote down three sisters. So, I mean, I will have to look and see. It might be a daughter and two cousins or her daughters because I blurred everything. I can't quite remember. But otherwise, it's just very odd. He keeps referring to his daughter. Even still, he may have other family members. He may have other daughters, and he is referring to just this one daughter. He doesn't refer to the other daughter who might not be here or son. It just seems odd. She'll be able to call up her family and say, Dad said I was his favorite. He didn't even mention you guys. How would that feel? Right? Okay. Now we don't know. Dad might have had heart surgery or, you know, blockage removed in the past. He may have been on baby aspirin or something to keep his heart in good shape. Maybe that's all happened, but these women are just like, okay, yeah, okay. And a lot of times when Matt will say, does that make sense? Or do you understand? And they say yes, because it does make sense. And they do understand. It doesn't make it true. It just means they're agreeing to, they can't understand him. Let me tell you something. And I told this before. It is just, when Mark used to work in the psychic world at like psychic fairs, you know, like a Halloween festival, one of the tricks that they used to use is the psychic would be in a little booth, you know, the palm reader, psychic, tarot reader, whatever like that. It's a Halloween festival. So obviously it's, you know, people should know it's fake, but you know, whatever. And so he's sitting there at his little table and people would line up in a line. Oh my gosh, people loved. I spent many hours at these festivals watching him give tarot readings. Quite interesting. And he's sitting there and he can look out he can look out the door. He can look out the little, well, it's not I guess a doorway, it's a tent. And the person sitting across from him. And Mark will, at a certain point, what he'll do is he would say to the person very quietly, he'd lean in and he'd say, can you hear me okay? And the person would go, yeah. And so then all the other people in line would see the person nodding yes and say, yeah. And then they go, wow, he must be getting a lot. It's just a trick, right? Okay. So this guy worked really hard. He loved cars. Lots of people like cars. And they didn't seem like over thrilled with it. When he said, do you like cars? They said, well, he drove a tow truck. I guess he liked cars. Maybe he doesn't like cars. I don't know. And then he collected license plates. Lots of people do that. And they were kind of laughing and like, oh, okay. But they didn't make it sound like, yeah, Dad has this massive collection of license plates. Maybe in their mind, because they really want this reading to go well. They're thinking of a place that their dad liked to go eat at, like a restaurant that it was one of the ones, or a bar he hung out at, and they had a wall decor of lots of license plates. So they could say, oh, Matt wasn't exactly right. Dad didn't collect license plates, but he did like to hang out at a place that collected license plates. And then it makes sense to them. They found the connection, because you can't, when you're a motivated sitter, you're going to say everything you possibly can to keep this reading going. Because if you start saying no to things, then Matt's going to go, oh, well, I guess he's gone. But I'm going on to the next person. And they want to hear from their father and other people possibly as well. They seem to have a lot of dead people in their family. So I'm hopefully almost done with this.
Because he shows me, like, back in the day, we didn't go on many vacations, but I used to go to the water with my daughters, and he keeps showing me I keep seeing pictures of the water when I'm connecting. And this is going way back. I want to say, like, you were 4 or 5 years old in these pictures that I'm seeing.
I don't know. I don't know if he ever went to the beach. He was a very work 7 days a week kind of guy. Didn't really go
Tell me
on
this was
vacation.
back when you were a little girl, because I feel like this was like the one excursion that you did go on, because he's bringing this through. I keep seeing that. I keep seeing like this specific picture they show me. I keep seeing like water behind you. I keep seeing it sitting at a picnic table when I'm connecting, and he's saying to me like, "This was my favorite memory. It was back when you were younger." And your dad said to me that what was so beautiful is that once he gets to the other side, all these memories returned. And he wants to let you know in spirit that he hasn't left your side, and that he wants you to know that he's watching over you every day.
Thank you.
All right. You're very welcome. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Now, also at the same time, I got to go over to Marissa.
So he really pushes this dad took, when you took vacations kind of bet. And they're like, no, dad never took vacations. He worked 24/7. And he's a tow truck driver, right? Hardworking guy. And he's like, but there's a picture. He's showing me this picture. You might have been 4 years old in the picture. And there's a body of water behind you. And there's a picnic table. And she's like, no, I don't know anything about that. No, there's a picture. Your dad's telling me. You just don't remember it. So now I guess she's going to go through a box of pictures and see if she can find something with a body of water and a picnic table with her dad in it. And that was one of his favorite memories. Okay, you're 4 years old. Not all the other wonderful memories that you think your dad would actually have would be more important to him, like her wedding day, or when her babies were born, or when she was born and he held her in her arms, or when they came home from the hospital with a brother, or when the wife died, or other when his mother and father died. Think about all the other memories that must be flowing through a person who's lived a long life, successes he's had, and people he's known, and wonderful things that have happened to him. And no, it's this memory of him sitting by a body of water with his 4-year-old daughter on a park bench. That's the best memory. I mean, when you really break it down and think about it, does this make sense? It does not make sense to me. So anyway, this wasn't all that great of a reading. It was cold. But it does show the tropes being used over and over again, and how the law of large numbers, like they like to pick people with multiple people in the room for this reason, so you can throw out as much stuff as you can. Okay, comments below, people. I really, 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 really like hearing from your comments, and YouTube likes it too. So take care, everyone, and follow on the next one. This was number 7 of 11. So I'm going to go to 8.